Hello, and welcome back to Mortals and Portals, a Pathfinder real play podcast. I am your host and GM, Zach, and joining me at the table is...
Adam, and I play Jhuls, an Azarketi bard.
Ryan, and I play Ryu, a tiefling magus.
Aaron and I play Waltz, a human champion.
And you may have noticed that you didn't hear from good old Joel, the kobold rogue, right? Is that how he says it? Because even us podcasters are not immune to the scheduling conflicts of tabletop RPGs, meaning I don't think there was any way we could have all gotten together to record our next 2 episodes, which normally would have spelled doom for these sessions, but luckily the party is split. So it actually worked out kind of nicely that we were able to record Jhuls and Ryu on their little adventure in Curipan, and then later we're going to be able to record Waltz and Dax on their adventure at Scale Keep. So everyone who says never split the party, don't underestimate it, because it gives you a lot of flexibility with your sessions. So yeah. So this episode in particular, since Joel is not here, we will be focusing on Jhuls and Ryu. And if you recall, last time on Mortals and Portals, Jhuls and Ryu departed from the ship after Jhuls freed him from his prison, and Ryu fooled everybody with his spoon shenanigans and this and that, and they hopped on Smith and flew away back towards Scale Keep. And along the way, they flew back over the city of Curipan after catching up a bit, and Ryu sharing some of the things he learned from Sindor, and Jhuls kind of filling Ryu in on some of the adventures they've had in his absence. And when they looked upon Curipan, Jhuls seemed to have some sort of idea, basically wanting to sabotage some of the operations there because it's clearly a major hub for the Drake Knights. It's an export city, that's how they get the Drake eggs to and from the island. Many Drake Knights are there. They have ships, weapons, and if anything ever went south on their infiltration of Scale Keep, then obviously these Drake Knights would be able to reinforce it. Plus they're just doing general no-goodery, or whatever word I'm looking for.
General no-goodery.
General no-goodery. Maybe that'll be the episode title. General no-goodery.
Yes, General.
Yes. So they wanted to, do what they can to stop that. And rather than, like having a conversation or communicating or just saying like, hey, I'll do this, you do that, Jhuls just said, hey man,
wild card.
Wild card, and he jumped off of Smith into the ocean, leaving the blind man who's never ridden on a hippogriff, I'm assuming, to pilot this majestic beast in midair. Ryu, just started talking to it like it was like, I don't know, Siri or like his Amazon Alexa, or I don't know, whatever.
It's a stick shift.
Yeah. And maybe Smith knows what he's saying. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
That's not the shifter.
Because, oh gosh. Because Ryan rolled a nat 1, so Ryu didn't do very well with his attempts to maneuver Smith, and it sent him into a bit of a nosedive. Smith thought he was angling him into a cluster of Drake Knights, and so Smith did exactly that. They just ran into a group of them that were carrying boxes and whatnot. Ryu was flown off, rolled through the snow, transformed back into his state that he was in when they were in Pagos, and he heard a bunch of swords drawn from their sheaths, and that's where we left off. So that is where we were going to jump back in with our masterminds of sabotage. So Ryu, you felt a cluster of auras start to surround you. You brushed the snow that you hate so much off of your robes, and you heard some blades drawn. What do you do?
Yeah, I'll wobble to a stand, brush the snow off the top of my hair, now revealing the black hair that we all remember from when Ryu entered into Pagos. And I say, stupid Sniff. That's right, it's me, Ryu. The former Erikai you all thought was off on a ship. Well, I'm back, and I'm here to take my revenge against those on that cart with me. You know who you are. Where are you?
What's he talking about? I don't know. I think that's that horn fella that Homebrew took on the ship. Oh, right. Listen, I don't know what you're talking about, but you need to drop your sword, because I don't think you're supposed to be here.
Drop my sword? Did you not hear me? I'm looking for those on the cart with me. I know they're here.
I mean, hey, go ask around, see if they're here. I don't know. Oh, okay. And you hear one of them just run off. All right, they're gonna go ask about them, but you gotta put your sword down, okay?
Okay, but while you're doing that, make sure to keep looking at me.
Hey,
Is he dancing?
what is Ryu doing?
Very widely arc my sword around, doing this very slowly and performatively, putting it back in its sheath to ensure all attention is on me.
So you sheathed your blade again?
No.
I'm just asking a question, man. Why'd you answer like that?
I just don't want you to make me take it out again as an action later.
So is it still out?
Yeah, I'll feign putting it back in its sheath, but actually just hold it right next to the sheath.
Is he blind?
I think he actually is blind, yeah.
All right, that's a little rude. Sometimes I can't find the sheath, okay? Just give me like 5 or 10 minutes or so until I find it.
Roll me a deception check.
6.
Can you roll me a perception check?
14.
You hear them whispering to each other.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
You there, those whispers. What are you saying? Are you strategizing? No strategizing.
That's already unfair.
Oh, yeah, we were just talking about how it seems to us like you're stalling there, mate. So we're gonna give you 3 seconds to drop your blade. Otherwise, we're gonna hit you with a little bit of full gas breath weapon. And you hear someone rummaging around in their cloak and pulling something out.
Can I identify which one that is?
Yeah, it's the one directly in front of you.
Okay, so I know for sure.
Yes.
Ryu says, "Oh, screw this. I'm bad at this part anyway." And then I blast my aura out, and I say, "If you can't find them, you'll die in their place." And then I cast
We'll
magic.
roll initiative, is what you'll do.
Dang it.
Oh. We always got to try, you know?
Yeah,
One of these
like if I
times
just
we'll
keep talking, I gotta do it all without him.
And then I kill them all?
What type of initiative is this?
We'll do athletics, like you're all just trying to spring on each other in this moment.
Oh, sick. Then I got a 14.
Nice.
They all nat 20.
All right, Ryu, you get to go first. So sorry to cut you off.
Whoa.
You get to actually do your grand explanation of what you do.
Thank you. As I was saying.
I blast my aura extremely hard. It was like the
Whoa.
biggest blast you've ever seen. Yeah, this is level 3 Ryu coming out right now. So, extreme power surge. Everybody's like, ugh.
Yeah, so they all go, what's he doing? And the snow around you starts to swirl, making this distinct ribbon around you, kind of corkscrewing around. And then you burst it outwards. Little shards of ice are flying with the aura blast, and they all brace for impact. Do they roll fortitude?
I'm actually not doing Gale Blast right now.
Oh.
I am casting a new spell called Radiant Field.
Oh my goodness.
New
Takes
spell?
all 3 of my actions.
Man.
I create an area of bright light. Creatures with light blindness that are blinded by radiant field and remain in the area must attempt a fortitude save at the start of their turns. On a failure, a creature remains blinded for 1 round. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So they roll to see if they're blinded.
Correct. At the beginning of each of their turns.
Oh, okay. All right. What's your spell save DC?
I believe it's 17.
All right. So as you burst this snow outwards, a light emanates from you, almost reminiscent to the brilliant white aura of the ley line that struck you. And you just hear, ah! And they all raise their arms up and they're cowering away. And you feel as though you have blinded these foes. And now it's their turn. And you hear a couple of them trip over each other into the snow, and they're like, I can't see! I can't see! And you hear one just blindly swinging his sword around in front of him, and the other one's like, help! Help! He's getting away!
I'm right
The
here.
idea of one of them. Help! 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 Mommy!
And with that, we'll cut to Jhuls. So Jhuls, you have just done a graceful dive into the ocean, and you're deep beneath the ship. What do you do?
I would like to swim up on the other side of the ship, away from the dock,
All right.
and start climbing up the side of the ship if I can. I don't know if there's like a Jacob's ladder already there or...
Yeah. Can you roll me a perception check?
Sure, certainly. That is 19.
All right, so as you're swimming up on the ship, you see there is a lizard folk underneath the ship scraping barnacles off of it, which would indicate to you that there is at least some way to climb out of the water that is probably set up for this lizard folk, but there is some Drake Knight in the water with you. What do you do?
Would I feel it's at all possible to, like, if he's focused on his job, like kind of sneak past him? Or do I definitely feel like he'd see me?
His back is to you because he's facing the ship, and he does appear to be hard at work.
Okay. Can I see how much barnacles are still left?
Yeah, with the perception check you rolled, you can tell there's not many. And knowing that this ship just recently returned, it's not like it's been just sitting there rotting in the dock. So it's just a preventative maintenance before hitting the ocean again.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I'll still try to sneak past him.
All right.
And just start climbing up the side of the ship.
Okay. Roll me a stealth swim.
Stealth swim. Is that a... Oh, there it is, right there. 24.
All right, so as you're coming up behind this lizard folk, although you can breathe underwater, you decide to hold your breath so no like bubbles or anything escape. You don't make any extra noise. You do a couple powerful kicks to gain momentum and then just pin your legs back in kind of like a little torpedo underwater, just drifting so you're not disturbing the water in any way, and come up to a little ladder that's been lowered down for this lizard folk.
Yeah, I'll climb up the ladder.
All right, so you start to climb and you leave the water and you're back out in the open air.
Cool. I would like to climb up, and I think in the last episode you mentioned that the side panels to put the cannons out were open.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to, if I can reach them, climb into there. But I guess before I do that, take a quick peek to make sure there isn't someone immediately there when I look.
All right, roll me another stealth check.
Ooh, 13.
So you peek your head just barely into this opening, and you see the back of a turtle folk, just a huge shell, and you see a thick set of pipes on this dude, like just a yoked up turtle folk. You see a lot of sailor tattoos on his arms. You hear him, "Hurry up, get these cannons cleaned out. We'll be setting sail soon." Aye. And just a bunch of bustling and running around.
If I could hang out here for just a minute, I think I'll just kind of stay there and watch them. What's this ladder that I'm on made out of? Is it like a rope ladder?
Yeah, it's a little rope ladder.
Okay. I think I'm going to take out my boarding axe and just chop off the rest of the ladder below my feet.
You're just leaving the lizard guy down
there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you can kind of quietly do that while you're waiting. You're just kind of sawing at it a little bit, not trying to make too much noise. The rope just kind of falls into the water.
I hope you can climb as well as you can swim.
The ladder just kind of drifts into the water and floats on the surface. And as you do that, the cannon in the window you're at gets pulled back and rolled into the ship, and you hear the sound of people cleaning this cannon out.
So they're probably like right there then.
And as can you roll me a perception check again?
Yeah. 13.
Kind of faintly off in the distance, you hear like, "Erikai, help, help," and the sound of like an explosion. "I can't see." And then just a lot of like movement up on the deck and just people running around.
Oh, great. What's he done now? I will climb up the rest of the way and just kind of peek over the edge to see what's going on.
Can you roll me another stealth check with a +4 circumstance bonus, since Ryu's made a little bit of a diversion for you?
You're welcome.
Thank you. So that's a 19.
So you were on the opposite side of the ship, so a lot of them ran to the railing on the side on the dock to look over at Ryu. So you just see the back of a lot of the crew, and they're pointing. "Is that bloody Erikai?"
"I don't even know what an Erikai is."
"I don't know, Boglu took him out to see or something. Looks like he's back."
"What are they gonna do? Oh man, that's a bright light."
That's a bright light. Oh man. I want to do something, but I'm scared.
Well, while you ponder that, let's cut back over to Ryu. It is your turn.
Feels so good to have a turn again. I want to identify that one that was rifling through his stuff when they mentioned hitting me with Vorgas breath weapon.
He's the one that was just wandering around yelling, help, help.
Okay, yeah, I get him within my sights. I'm going to start off but using my Arcane Cascade, since my last action was a spell, which just lets me do some more damage and I get temporary HP and all that good stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to chase towards this Drake Knight that was just screaming, help, help. And is he blind? Blinded?
Yeah, you got the impression that your spell worked on all of them.
How does it feel to fight on equal terms? And then I whip out my sword and utilize Gouging Claw with my spell strike. So I'm going to take a smack at him.
Dude, smack him. And you can get a +2 status bonus because he's flat-footed.
Oh, that sucks.
Sounded like a thud, dude.
You said I get a +2?
Yep.
15.
That hits. Yes! Roll damage.
So, I do the damage of my attack. Gosh, it's been so long. How the heck do I play this game?
We don't actually know. I think that's pretty clear at this point.
Yeah, who am I asking, right?
Sorry, guys. Doing our best.
Nice. Double nice.
Ooh, a double nice? Is this guy double
Yeah.
dead?
Maybe, I hope. That's a 15 total damage.
You feel confident. You feel very successful. You know you've just blinded all these targets. They have no idea how to fight in these conditions like you do. You have all this pent-up aggression towards these Drake Knights that have been having the upper hand over you, greatly outnumbering you. You don't even have your weapon. And you feel like, finally, here's your chance to show him what an Erikai can do. So you start to run forward, and one of the Drake Knights that tripped over one of his companions that's kind of crawling on the ground, you run and jump off of his back and dive forward, and as you're spinning through the air, you unleash a perfect horizontal slash that completely halves this Drake Knight, cuts him in two, and you roll through the snow and slide and turn back around and look back at the other three Drake Knights and are starting to rub their eyes just in time to see their friend, his upper torso sliding off of his legs and plopping in the snow.
Awesome.
It feels so good to kill again.
Oh
And
my
like
gosh!
And then with my final action,
This
I'm
guy's
going to use
insane!
my focus spell, which is Thunderous Strike, which I don't remember who told me, but they reminded me a long time ago on Reddit that I can use my focus spell to give me my spell strike back for my next turn, so I'm using that to my advantage this time.
Thank you, Reddit.
Yep, so with my Thunderous Strike, I'm basically just doing a huge, heavy, strong, powerful sweep of my Odachi in front of me, attempting to force some of my aura out and plow these guys over. So I make a melee strike with my weapon, each creature within a 15-foot cone, hoping they're within that cone.
Oh, man.
From
This is
my,
a fishing turn, man.
Yeah, I know, right? This is going to be like all my stuff, though. They have to make a fortitude save against my DC.
All right.
That DC is a 17. Let me know if they crit fail, too, because that would be sick.
They all regular failed.
Ah, okay. They just take 3 sonic damage, then.
All right. So as they start to rub their eyes and look back at you, you thrust your hand out, and it just sends this burst of energy that pummels them all in the chest, sends them backwards, disorients them. And is that the end of your turn?
And that'll do it.
All right. And Ryu, kind of off in the distance, you hear the sound of Smith, his familiar shriek and chirp as he crawls out of a mound of snow, and you can hear the sound of his wings unfurling and shaking a bunch of snow off of him.
Now there's a beast too!
Oh, great. Sniff's back.
And the three that are remaining, after rubbing their eyes and trying to regain their senses, they're going to start chattering to each other.
We just need to hold him here till the others show up. Well, you go first. Are you kidding? Do you see what he... you!
And then they shove the other one in the back. He goes,
Okay, just put your sword down. We don't have to do this.
Put my sword down. I'm having too much fun.
I picture Ryu just with this Drake Knight's blood all over his face, looking absolutely insane.
Eyes just like wide, foaming at the
Paid
mouth.
enough for this.
ah! And this guy's gonna swing his sword at you. Miss. And he's gonna swing it again. And miss again.
Pitiful.
So, Ryu, as he goes to swing the sword, you're just insulted by how telegraphed his movement was, and you just barely step to the side, and it just grazes past your nose. And then he's going to do another horizontal swing, which you simply jump over as he swipes at your legs, and you land back at the snow, and the guy is just trembling. And then there's two left.
I'll take the hippogriff. What? No. Yeah, I got the hippogriff.
And he shoves this guy in the back, and he's going to run over to Smith, and Smith lets out a loud call and is just slashing at the air. And he's like,
This is an awful situation for us. Try and calm him down.
and he's going to try and command an animal.
Calm down, calm down.
Good luck.
Absolutely, it does not work. This is a terrible situation.
Sniff is uncontrollable. I would know.
And the other one is going to run up,
All right, together.
and he is going to try and take a swing at you as well. Does a 17 hit you? All right, so he goes to swing, and you kind of lazily underhand grip, swing your sword slightly, and just knock his off its path. And then he is going to do a loud, powerful overhead swing out of desperation, and completely misses well. So you sidestep, and he just clanks into the snow, and he picks up the sword. And you can tell by the way he's maneuvering it, he's not very skilled with this weapon. He's just swinging it around frantically. And behind you, you start to hear the commotion of more Drake Knights running down the dock towards you.
Get him.
Yes.
Come on.
More fun.
What the devil?
And we'll cut back to Jhuls. So Jhuls, you are peering over the dock at all of the Drake Knights that are staring in bewilderment at this site that Ryu has created.
Okay, I want to see if there's a bell on the ship in sight.
Yeah, there is a typical bell that's in the center of the main deck just for sounding the alarm that most military ships have.
I am going to cast Unseen Servant
All right.
and have him walk over to the bell and just ring the crap out of it.
Okay. All right, so as you're hanging there, you pull your flute out and play a very quiet tune, trying to mask it with the commotion that's going on the main deck, and cast Unseen Servant, and you know you have summoned your invisible servant.
Probably going to think I'm going to send him off like immediately, like the last time I used
You
him.
actually need me this time? Seriously.
Hey, that's exactly what he sounds like, yeah. What do you want?
Oh, you again. Better be good.
Jhuls.
I was just unwinding for the day.
So yeah, I'm going to send him to the bell. And as soon as he starts ringing it, I want to kind of cup my hand as to attempt to kind of throw my voice a little bit. And I'm going to yell,
All hands on deck! Everyone get up here!
Nice. Can you roll me a performance check?
Ooh.
With a +2 circumstance bonus with all the commotion.
ooh, 23.
All right.
Nice.
So your unseen servant starts ringing the bell. I just imagine how these unseen servants feel with these like minor tasks that they're summoned for. Like, go ring this bell. Gosh, can't you do it? All right, so it's just ringing this bell back and forth frantically.
I love that Jhuls' unseen servant is
just
just so
sassy,
like
yeah.
campy, like fine.
He's just fed up.
And
I hope he
you
and Jhuls
throw
have like
your-
a long history.
Oh, that's amazing.
And you throw your voice, as you described, kind of drawing from your theater roots of just using the acoustics of the deck and doing an impersonation and mimic the sound of a typical captain. All the Drake Knights that were staring over the edge of the ship, looking over at Ryu's fight and all that commotion, snap to as they hear the familiar sound of the bells, meaning that everyone needs to get to their post, and they all start relaying the call down to the lower decks and throughout the ship, like,
All hands on deck. Get to your post. What for? I don't know. You heard him. Get to your post.
and they're all like looking around, kind of confused, but all start running throughout the ship and calling down to the lower decks as well.
Okay, I'll start climbing back down and just kind of be listening to hear for more silence in the lower deck. And then once I feel I'm not really hearing much movement, I will climb in.
Can you roll me a perception check?
14.
So you listen for a while without turning around, really, just relying on your ears. And you hear some scuffling, the sound of some feet going upstairs. And you feel like you hear some silence from the lower decks as everyone's confused up on the upper decks, getting to their post. And you know you don't have a ton of time before they figure out that that call wasn't legitimate.
Yeah. I'll climb in. Do I hopefully see no one?
Yeah, so you climb onto the cannon itself and sort of crawl through the opening, land next to it, sort of dust your clothes off, take a peek around. Can you roll me a perception check? Perception check, perception check, perception check.
Our
so
favorite
many
roll.
perceptions.
Our favorite roll.
24.
So as you dust it off, you have a little smirk to yourself. You feel very confident. You look up, and that turtle folk is staring directly at you. Yoked out of his mind. You can see veins all across his muscles, pirate tattoos. He's got like one eye that's completely white with a scar down it. And he goes,
Didn't know there was any Azoketi Drake Knights.
I just joined, as a matter of fact. Didn't you hear? They want everyone on deck. I was just heading there myself. I was helping scrape barnacles under the ship. I was climbing back up, and I heard the call. I just figured I'd check to see if anyone was, still down here, muttering about. What? Let's go. What are you doing?
he can clearly sense your nervousness. And he goes,
Just joined. Who initiated you?
Geldir. You know, the elf. It's got pointy ears,
I know that.
dark hair. Yeah, Geldir, yes.
I hate Geldir.
Then we have something in common. What's your name? Mine's Jhuls. You remind me of a friend back home. You don't happen to be from Aquaria, do you?
Stop talking.
All right.
he's looking you up and down.
Geldir is a foot soldier in Enoch. He has nothing to do with Pagos or the crew of this ship, which leads me to believe you're lying through your teeth, Azoketi.
Well, you see, I met Geldir in Pagos, but clearly it makes much more sense for me to be here, so he initiated me, yes, but he suggested I come here to better use my skill set.
And as you're talking, you can hear just through the floorboards up on the main deck that they're starting to figure out that nobody called for anyone to get into position, and they will soon be returning to the lower decks.
After noticing that, I'll kind of look around the lower deck. Do I see a barrel of sun powder?
Can you roll me a sailing lore check?
I think this is the first time I've gotten to use this too. That is a 17.
All right. So you know that they would obviously keep the sunpowder nearby because this is where the cannons are. And it's customary before embarking on a voyage to take inventory of how much sunpowder you have, just to make sure you have enough for the voyage and X amount of encounters or fights. So the barrels are likely nearby, perhaps being counted, and you start to scan the room and you see them in the back corner of this room you're in, beyond the turtle folk. As you kind of peek around his massive shell, you have to really crank your neck to see around him. Can you also roll me a performance check just to see how subtly you maneuver your eyes with a -2 circumstance, because he's very skeptical and staring right at you.
Okay, 18. Thank goodness. Performance is my best trait.
So you peek around him and you're kind of talking and you're starting to crank your neck more and more and more and more around him. And he's staring right at you, and his eyes sort of follow your gaze. He, with a lot of suspicion in his face and voice, says,
Got dreams of being a gunner on this ship, Azoketi.
Yes, absolutely. This is a fine ship. And I'll start to kind of walk around and, maybe caress the cannon a little bit, knock on the boards and kind of shake them to test the strength and stuff. Just trying to make my way over to the barrels.
And with that, we'll cut back to Ryu.
I was so invested, though. I want to know.
Oh, man.
So, Ryu, it's your turn again. Just a reminder, you heard a bunch of Drake Knights running down the docks towards you, while the 3 remaining Drake Knights are just trying to hold you off until they get there. It is your turn.
Yeah, I'm just gonna straight up keep trying to take out guys here. Ryu's having a great time. So
Seems
let's go
like
up to the
it.
closest one. Take a big old slash at him.
All right.
So yeah, I'll use my Gouging Claw with the Spell Strike again.
Okay.
19.
That hits.
Here we go, baby. Damage. 19 damage.
Okay. So the one that just did that overhead strike that's stuck in the snow next to you, he goes to like lift it back up, but then he sees your foot rest on the top of the blade, stopping him from raising it again, and he looks up and you're just like wagging your finger back and forth. And then you slash your sword across him and just decapitate the guy. Oh my gosh! He's insane!
So then with my last action, I think with the guy in front of me, I'm just going to attempt to intimidate him after everything that I've just done in
So
front of him.
demoralize.
Yeah, demoralize.
All right. That would make a lot of sense. Roll me an intimidation check with a +2 circumstance bonus because,
Okay.
roleplay wise, you have been being extremely intimidating.
That is only a 12.
So the head you just cut off sort of rolls up to the feet of the last Drake Knight that's near you. He looks down and does a big gulp and then looks up at you. And you sort of relax your shoulders and then lazily hang your head to the side, very creepily looking over your shoulder at him. Although what you did was very intimidating, this strikes a fight or flight in this Drake Knight, and he knows that he cannot run from you and he must fight you. So your demoralized failed, and he's going to do all he can to battle you, which may be actually what Ryu really wanted.
So it is death you choose.
So he is going to charge you, yelling, and he is going to swing his sword powerfully. Does an 18 hit you?
Not powerfully enough.
Oh, seriously? Dang. All right. So he goes to swing it again, and you actually grab his wrist to just stop his strike from even reaching you at all, and shake your head again and throw his hand to the side, and then he's going to just try and shove you now. What is your fortitude DC?
18. It's
Oh my
10 plus
gosh,
my
man.
thing, right?
These guys are not having a good day. He goes to shove you, and he makes complete contact with your chest, but you don't even move at all. It just hits you like you're a solid brick wall. He goes,
I still want to be in that head hangy pose that you just described.
Your head just hanging to the side. He just drops his sword, and he's backing away. And then you hear all of the other Drake Knights that are running down the docks towards you, and they say,
All right, let's be quick about this. You heard Sindor. We gotta get out of here.
and then off to the side, you hear the sound of Smith bite into the neck of the Drake Knight that approached him, and you hear a tearing and a ripping sound of shredding skin, and then a loud shriek echo throughout Curipan.
Get him, Smith.
And with that, we'll cut back to Jhuls.
Uh-oh.
I can't wait.
So Jhuls, it seemed like you were trying to make your way towards the barrels of sunpowder with a very skeptical, jacked turtle folk.
Oh no, he totally is buying.
He's actually matching your paces along the wall. He's walking with you, mirroring you.
Awesome. So, how long have you been a Drake Knight?
Since the beginning.
Oh, so quite some time. I can tell. You look very seasoned. How close am I getting?
He goes,
You're sweaty.
Am I, though? I didn't say I was sweating.
I feel like the way you're role-playing it kind of like would be fitting.
No, that's fine.
Jules, as you're moving along the wall, you bump into a crate and look down, and you see a crate with a bunch of dividers in it, and you see a lot of large, colorful eggs in this crate. Can you roll me a perception check?
18.
Rolls are going well today.
Yeah.
They
And you
are.
kind of start to look away for a moment to look back, like, I don't have time to worry about this. But then you double take and do another quick glance, and you notice all these different colored eggs, like a red egg, a orange egg, blue eggs, light green eggs, and they all have markings in their corresponding pockets within the crate, and they seem to have like destinations written on them. And just at a quick glance, you see some are going to Norvik, the dwarven homeworld. Some are marked for Drakis, where you know Dax is from. Some Mortifar. And one marked for Arctica, which you don't know a lot about, but know is like the barren, icy planet on the fringes of the system. And as you look back up, you notice there are many crates along the same wall, and just at a quick glance, also have many drake eggs in them.
I'll look back to the turtle folk. These must be the drake eggs, yes? I haven't seen one yet. And then I'll pick one up.
Put it down.
The egg?
I'm gonna give you one sentence to say something to convince me not to rip you to shreds right now.
Do you want to jump back to Ryu so I can think about that sentence for a bit?
No, pressure's on.
Okay, dang it. I'll chuckle and set the egg down, and I'll take my ocarina out, and I'll say, I always was a better performer. And then I'll take the crate and just spill it on the floor, and then I'll feel this like power within me that I haven't felt before, and I'll play this like very aggressive, like almost shrieking, I picture like on a flute, like just trying to think of how to describe it, but yeah, like just like shrieking noise almost. It's not even really melodic. And I'm casting Mirror Image, which creates 3 illusory images of me that swirl about in my space, and it says potentially causing those who would attack me to hit one of those instead of me.
Nice. Oh, awesome, man.
So now
Clever.
this turtle folk sees 4 Jhuls.
All right, man. Roll initiative.
All right.
So I'm basically saying that, like, the time he gave you to say something, that's what you did with it. And then now we're going to roll initiative.
What kind of initiative we rolling?
Let's roll deception against, and he'll roll
Okie
perception.
dokie. Okay, that's a 20.
All right. You're up first, man. So
Sweet.
3 images of Jhuls swirl around you and then pop out in separate positions. And the crate spills over, a bunch of drake eggs break. You see just slimy yolks come out of them. Again, there's still many crates along the walls. And I almost picture you doing kind of like a cheeky expression that all of the Jhuls copies replicate as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's your
I
turn.
love that. Okay, so now that we've moved a bit, where are the barrels of sunpowder between turtle folk and me? Are they still behind him?
They're basically, because they were kind of like angled behind him, but now they're directly behind him, 40 feet on the other side of him.
So I'd like to first try to maneuver around him to get to the barrels of sunpowder. If I need to do some like parkour, jump off a box or the wall or something like that.
What's your speed? 20, right? Or 25?
20.
So to kind of like go around him and move the full 40 feet that I said I was away, you basically need to do like 45 feet. So like 2 whole movements would basically get you like right up to it.
Okay. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll move the full 40 or whatever it was.
Okay, so like as you start to move, he's going to kind of just aggressively try and like reach out, and your illusions sort of disorient him, and you jump onto one of the canyons and flip over the other side of it, and then just start to sprint across to the other side of the ship as your illusions sort of lag behind you and move roughly around your area, confusing him further.
Cool. So then I want to take out my, I suppose that's an action in itself, to switch to my boarding axe.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll kind of picture I'm doing that as I'm running, but I'll put my ocarina away and switch to my boarding axe.
All right. So he whips around, sees a bunch of illusions pulling out boarding axes over by the sunpowder, and he goes,
No problem. I'll just rip all 4 of you to shreds.
and he just reaches out with these huge hands, and he's going to try and grab onto you. So I roll a d4 to see which of these illusions I grab.
Yep.
I got a 2.
Okay, so that's not me.
All right. So his big hands grab the shoulders of one of the illusions, and he just rips it in half, like with his bare hands. And as it rips, it just fades into nothing. But you get a glimpse of what this guy is trying to do to you, basically. And he looks back at you.
I'm terrified.
and you see a big vein forming on his forehead, and he's going to swing his arm out again. Would a 19 hit you?
That meets.
Okay, so then I'll roll another d4, right?
Actually, now you roll a d6.
Okay.
And if you get a 1 or a 2, that's me.
Don't tell him that.
He got a 1.
No! Dang it.
No!
So that means he hits you?
Yep, he got me.
All right.
Ah! Put me down!
He grabs onto your shoulders and has grappled you and picks you up in the air. And he goes, and then he's going to roll an attack against you. And he goes to try and headbutt you. And right as his head is coming, you dodge it, and he bashes it into the wall behind you. And it breaks out the back of the wall. And with that, we'll cut back to Ryu. So Ryu, you turn around and sense a mass of auras running down the docks towards you, yelling. You hear the sounds of weapons being drawn, coming towards you. Smith stepping up next to you on your side. What do you do?
Out of my way, Sniff, and I shove him to the side.
He shoves you back, like with his head, just kind of like thumps against the side of your head, and he shrieks at you.
I'll get off. And I'm gonna make my way to attack with the nearest Drake Knight.
All right, like this is to the point where like it's like a mass of auras, like you almost can't even discern who is who.
Sounds
just
like
hear
a lot.
a lot of footsteps coming. You're just gonna attack. All right.
Yeah.
Man, Ryu is hardcore, dude.
Ryu is on one right now. Are they within Gale Blast reach? That being...
Yeah, you could just
5
like wait
feet?
a moment and they'll be there, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll wait till they get within reach then and give him a good old Gale Blast here.
All right. And they roll a fortitude save, right?
That's right.
This is probably like the worst I've rolled throughout an entire session. Okay. So they're all coming down the docks. You step out, maybe chuckle to yourself. Smith is just almost annoyed, just kind of hanging back, watching you, like, fine, do whatever you want. You start to charge up your gale blast. The waters underneath the docks start to churn back and forth, and then you let out a huge burst. It makes like a crater of water around you that forms and wraps around you like a wave and splashes upwards and just sends a force towards all of the Drake Knights running towards you, and it just kind of carves a little hole in the initial couple lines of Drake Knights as they get blasted off the docks into the water, throwing Drake Knights to the side. You feel like you just took out the whole front line and threw them into the water.
Heck yeah.
And how much damage do they take? Because it throws them 5 feet, right, when they fail?
Yeah, if they fail, they get thrown 5 feet. If they crit fail, it's 10 feet. And then they take 9 damage.
Would a 7 crit fail?
So if my thing is 17 and they got a 7, is that crit
So
fail?
half of them crit failed and half regular failed. So some of them just
Nice.
got like thrown very far.
Ryu's having a great time.
He is, man. You see at least like a couple of them get like impaled on a rock, like in the shallow parts of the water. Just
And then after I cast that Gouging Claw, because it was a spell, I guess that part doesn't matter. I'm just going to recharge my Spell Strike as my last action, though.
Okay, so you exhale and just try and become in tune with your aura once again, preparing for the next wave. And with that, we'll cut back to Jhuls. So Jhuls, you're being suspended in the air by this powerful turtle folk. Just tried to headbutt you and bashed a hole in the wall. What do you do?
Okay, so I still have my boarding axe in my hand.
Yep.
I want to kind of toss it off to the side, and then I want to cast Telekinetic Projectile. And I imagine
Sick.
Jhuls kind of uses like a whistle, since he, doesn't have access to his ocarina, which would be ideal, but he can like use like a little whistle melody to send it flying.
Okay.
And so I want to send my boarding axe at him after I
Okay.
toss it.
Roll it up.
That is 27.
All right, so you kind of toss your boarding axe off to the side, do a little whistle that suspends it in air, do a sharp sound that sends it whirling around, and then thump into the trap of this turtle folk. And he lets out a roll damage.
He takes 13 slashing.
Oh man, you see it dig deep into his trap and a bunch of green blood spill down his chest. If you want to try and escape with your last action, I'll give you a +2 circumstance bonus.
Haha. My plan Might have worked. What do I add to this? I've never escaped anything in my life.
What's your
except
Houdini
good,
modifier?
honest work. My what modifier?
Your Houdini modifier?
I'll never tell.
So you're going to just do an unarmed attack, basically, against his athletics DC.
Okay, 16.
All right. You swing your fist in that moment and punch the boarding axe deeper into his trap. And he goes, "Ugh!" And he lets go of you, and you drop against the floor for a moment. The back of the ship keeps you upright as you kind of stumble and maybe feel at your neck as he was squeezing the life out of you. And you have escaped.
Need to brush your teeth.
I don't have teeth.
I don't think I'm a turtle.
I'm sorry, that was insensitive of me.
All right, and that brings us back to him, and he's going to roll an attack roll.
Oh, great.
Misses, so he goes
Thank
to
God.
swing, and you duck, and he punches out the back of the ship again, and then he's going to do another swing at you. That is a hit.
No.
So now we need to roll to see if we hit your illusion, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
D6.
He got a 6.
Okay, so that's another.
Miss.
Yep.
Okay, so he just punches the head off of one of your illusions, basically, and then it disappears, and that'll bring us back to you. He's starting to laugh maniacally with all this blood dripping down, and you can tell you've sent him into this, like, insane state. Your turn.
This is getting ridiculous. I want to attempt to, like, stomp on one of these barrels and just bust it open.
Yeah, you can just, like, kick it over. I could just have you, like, roll a, like, strength or something against it.
Okay. It didn't work.
Okay.
That's a 4.
All right, so you go to kick the barrel, like, thinking you're like, got you now, and you kick the barrel, and you realize it's a lot heavier than you think, and kind of do, like, an embarrassed, like,
Just a moment. And then this time I want to, like, try just shoving it, bend down, push
You have
off
a
with
strength
both
check,
feet.
man.
That's better, hopefully. 19.
All right, you do a little peck dance real quick, grab the top of the barrel with both arms, and shove it over, and the lid comes off, and a bunch of sun powder spills across the floor, leaving a bit of a trail.
Okay, and then I want to use my last action to start running back towards the hole that I came from. Go back to the hole you came from.
hole that you came from.
So you kind of do like a little bounce in place side to side for a moment just to get a gauge of what this guy's going to try and do. He does a swing, and you sort of duck under his legs and crawl underneath him under the floor, and then get up and start running towards the hole.
And that is my turn.
And that takes us back to him, and he whips around, and he's going to sprint over to you and try and grab you again. He's going to roll an attack. Does an 18 hit you?
No, it doesn't.
Nice.
Okay, he swings as you duck underneath it, and he feels like that was the illusion or something, and he's going to just swing widely to try and hit both of you. And he definitely misses, and he does another frantic swing again, as blood is just kind of all over his face at this point, and he looks angry and just pulls the axe out of his trap, and he's like, it looks like he's going to try and attack you with your own axe. That brings us back to you, Jhuls.
So I'll use my first action to run to the cannon hole that I came from. I will turn back to the turtle folk and say, "Take care of the axe for me. Happy pirating." And then I'll stick my finger out and shoot a magic missile
Love it.
at the sun powder.
All right. Yeah, you shoot a little aqua dart. The spark hits the trail. You see it ignite and start making its way up the trail of sun powder towards the barrel. What do you do with your third action?
I jump backwards, like arms out, like backwards dive,
Oh,
and
man.
go into the water.
You gracefully jump out of the back. As you start to backflip and look down, you see a lizard folk at the edge of the ship like, "Oh, where's the rope?" And then a massive explosion erupts, making a wave as wood and splinters fly everywhere. You get one last glimpse of the turtle folk peering out of the hole at you, looking enraged as he is engulfed in flames. And you dive gracefully into the water and observe an explosion taking place over the surface And
That was amazing.
That was truly
That was
amazing.
so much fun.
is where we'll end.
No, I don't want it to be.
Session
Oh man.
with Jhuls
That was
blowing up the
crazy.
Drake Knights only ship. Holy cow, man, that was awesome, dude. You know what?
I love that.
was
That
so
was so
cool.
sweet.
I wouldn't
so
even
much
mind
fun.
talking about that.
Yeah, let's do it right now.
Shut
Let's do it right now.
Shut
yeah.
up! Everybody, shut up.
Oh.
We're gonna talk about that in the downtime. Sorry, I felt like that was my loudest shut up yet, and I just want you guys to know I love you. I'm not angry, but you
That
do
one
need to
actually
shut
hurt
up.
my feelings.
You do need to shut up, okay? Because we're going to talk about it in the downtime. And the downtime is for patrons, where we react to the most recent episode. So we'll break down all those shenanigans, all that bloodlust, all that stuff. So yeah, I just want to thank our listeners. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you for making us a podcast, because without you, we're just recording ourselves and doing all this work for no reason. I want to thank Joel, who does all of our editing for vocals, even when he's not here. So he's going to sit down and just press play and have no idea all the stupid stuff we
Joel,
did.
I love
He's
you.
going to discover it in real time, and he's going to be like, wow, what a bunch of crazy dudes. And I want to thank Taryn, who does all of our editing for effects, who also just listened to this episode and was hopefully taking notes of all the times he's got to put in explosions and just people's heads getting cut off and, you know, hippogriff
He's
shrieks
picking
and
his
all that
nose the
stuff.
whole
So, hey,
time.
man, thank you, Taryn. I really appreciate it. And I want to thank Adam, who does all of our original artwork. I feel like there's going to be a cool session sketch for this one for our patrons of, like, Jhuls doing a beautiful
Literally
dive with an
any
exploding
moment.
ship. That sounds pretty sick to me. And I want to thank Ryan, who does all of our original music. This dude has just been blowing our minds, like wide range of emotions and scenes covered by your composery, man. You're the John Williams of Mortals and Portals. Love you, man. Really appreciate it. And yeah, so, you know, hey, give us a good rating if you can. We'd really appreciate it on your podcast distributor. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really, really, really helps us out. I know every content creator says stuff like that, but like seriously, it goes a long way. We'd really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you next time, mortals.
I hope you did away with Clag.
As a matter of fact, we
Oh yeah, we stabbed that guy.
He wasn't
Oh.
very cash money.
Turns out he wasn't cash money, Ryu.